Give me your foot. Good job. Hey, it's evening story time with the Parrot Wizard and Rachel, my blue and gold macaw. I've got some questions to answer. A question I received was, how do you train birds so they're comfortable when you cut their nails? And a follow-up from another viewer was, how can I teach my bird to let me file his nails? All right, well, the first thing is that rather than teaching them to allow us to cut their nails, a good alternative to allow them to be more comfortable, teach them to let us file their nails instead. It's much more painless, more benign, and it's a thing that you can build up a lot more gradually. You see, with something like cutting nails, it's all or nothing. You snip them or you don't. There's also a lot of potential for bleeding. So I don't really recommend that pet parrot owners cut their parrot's nails themselves. So instead, I recommend that you use a parrot nail trimmer stone instead. And unlike a typical human nail file, this is stiff. It's hard as a rock. Human nail files tend to be made out of paper or foam, and that's because our human nails are round, and those files are meant to be able to contour and follow the round edges of our fingernails. But when we're filing our parrot's toenails, we want a stiff trimmer instead, and that's because we're trying to cut a blunt edge. We want it to be as straight as possible. If you round the nails, they're just going to get back to being sharp faster. By having a more straight and blunt cut, it'll make them much less pointy. It'll make your nail trimming last a lot longer. So that makes the nail trimmer much more handy. Furthermore, because it's stiff and strong, parrots much less likely to break it. As we're teaching them to use it, or even in the middle of using it, some parrots may bite on it. Hopefully, nothing more than just beaking on it out of curiosity. But again, the paper nail files, they'll just shred them to pieces. We don't want them swallowing any pieces of that either. Being a much harder stone, it's much less likely that they will damage it, and it's reusable. So you can check that out and order yours from parrotwizard.com, and it comes with a much more detailed video about how to use it. But in the meantime, I want to address the key points of how to teach your parrot to allow you to trim its nails. And the very first part of that is actually to forget about your nail trimming tool. The thing is, we want to get focused. We get too focused on our goal. Our goal is to trim those nails, so we want to start doing something with that trimmer. And the problem is, the parrot might not be as afraid of the nail trimmer as it is just about being handled and touched in the feet. So we want to practice touching the parrot's feet before we even bring the tool anywhere near the parrot. So that way we can eliminate the fear of the tool specifically and instead focus on the training. So we have a command with Rachel called Give Me Your Foot. When I show her that, she comes over and gives me her foot. And the way we taught that is similar to a wave command. It's similar to teaching a wave command. And that's really where you pretend like you're going to have them step up, and they start coming over and putting their foot on your hand like they're going to step up. But at that moment, rather than having them fully step up, you click and give a treat for putting their foot on your hand. And that way you develop a Give Me Your Foot command. So I give her a command like this, give me your foot. She comes over, gives me her foot, I give her a treat. And after we've taught the command, the next thing I'm going to do is pretend to file her nails. I'm just going to pretend to file them with my hands. Do some contact, some touching, and maybe even a little bit of motion pressing on that nail with just my finger. It's much more benign this way. It's not as intrusive as using a real nail trimmer. Give me your foot. Good job. I'm going to touch your nails. I'm going to pretend to file your nails like that. Practice with the other nail. Do this one. We're going to make sure we could do this one too. We'll make sure we could do all your nails. Rachel is an 11-year-old macaw, hardly a baby, so this is a skill you could teach to any parrot of any age. And of course, the bigger they are, the bigger their feet are, so it's a little bit easier to hold them in our hands, but even the smaller birds can learn to give you their foot. Just keep in mind, the smaller birds may be a little bit more fast-paced and impatient, so with the smaller birds, you might work on one nail at a time, and you might work on, just a couple strokes, but that's okay. In the span of a week, you can do one nail a day, or even do half a nail a day. You don't have to do the full job all at once, so you can make it much less stressful on your parrot by doing a little bit each time, day by day, and It's fun. You can build it up as an exercise. You build trust in the process. There's no reason to make your parrot feel scared or mishandled to be able to trim their nails. By keeping it fun, you're not only going to be able to get the job done, you'll actually build a better bond and relationship in the process. All right, now we can reintroduce the real nail file now that we've had our practice. Say, give me your foot. But instead of applying it straight to the bird's nail, we're going to give the treat and just bring the file close. We're not necessarily going to go right at the nail every time. And bit by bit, we're going to get closer and closer. And eventually we might be able to just touch the file to the nail. And before long, we'll be grinding away, taking off material and shortening the nails and getting them nice and trim. And no fear, all fun, building a better relationship. If you have questions about parrot keeping, parrot training, be sure to leave a comment. Be sure to subscribe to All Parrots for frequent updates and videos helping you improve your relationship with your parrot. And check out the cool supplies that'll help you in the process, such as this training perch, nail trimmer stone, and lots of information and further support from Parrot Wizard.